Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the chairman of the Festival of Media, Mr. Charlie Crow.
Why, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Very good. I hope you enjoyed that sting. That's pretty cool. We've got a lot to get through in the next 2 days. Look, welcome to Rome and welcome to the 10th version of the Festival of Media here in Europe. We're going to be having, and we just checked the numbers this morning, almost 1,000 attendees and delegates coming into this show across the next 2 days. So it's going to be pretty busy, pretty frenetic. And I hope you're going to have a wonderful event and meet lots of great people, learn a lot about the business, and hopefully pick up some new clients along the way, because that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to say a few words before I open up to the conference host and chairman. You won't be seeing a lot of me over the next 2 days. You'll be very relieved to know. But I think it's important just to say, wow, 10 years! 10 years of this event in Europe. And I just wanted to reflect on that a little bit and hopefully set the scene for you. I mean, we won, I think 3 years ago, we won Best Global Conference in the Global Conference Awards. And I phoned up the head of that event yesterday and I asked him how many conferences in his experience that he knows live to 10 years. He didn't have the exact data, but what he did say is in his research, only 40% of conferences live beyond 3 years in the business-to-business space. So I guess that probably means that we're a pretty rare bunch here today, having survived 10 quite tumultuous years, that this event is still kicking off and still successful and still growing, which is quite amazing. And what's also amazing to me is I see many faces here in this audience who actually attended the very first Festival of Media in Venice in 2007. You know who you are: Dominic, Mitch, Mike, Maynardo. So many of you who have supported this event over the years, and it really is very moving to see. So thank you for your loyalty and support of this event. I hope we repay your loyalty by creating a great experience for you guys over the next 2 days. Of course, this isn't really the 10th event. It's actually the 23rd iteration of the Festival of Media. So it's not just been this event in Europe that we focused on as a business. In 2009, we launched in Latin America, an event that this year will have about 1,500 people attending in Miami at the Turnberry Isle. In 2011, we launched in Asia, and last year we launched in the Middle East with our event in Dubai. So we really have rolled this show out on the road and globalized it. We also, and again, something I'm very proud of, we've launched and created the largest single media awards ceremony that's been bolted on to the event. We don't release the amount of entries we get, but many thousands of entries from over 100 countries now means that we are probably the best, and I think the most well-regarded benchmark of what good looks like in the media industry today. And from about 1:30 today, we'll be starting to reveal the winners of many of the categories over in the screening room later on. So that's really, really exciting. I think we've built probably an awards ceremony with the most integrity in the industry, and something we really are hoping to build upon in the years ahead. I've been asked by the team to think of memories of the last 10 years. And it's very hard to do because we've had over 1,000 speakers just at this European event across the different cities we've been in, 5,000 people. So there really are so many amazing memories of this event. I think for me, one of them was the very first, some of you will remember this, when we all met in the gardens of the Cipriani Hotel. You remember the jazz band playing, a beautiful sunny day. And for me, that was an endorsement of the support of our early sponsors. Companies like the Wall Street Journal, Aegis, WPP, Yahoo. Bear in mind, Twitter and Facebook hadn't even existed. They weren't even set up at that time. They had supported the idea of the Festival of Media, and on the basis of one PowerPoint slide, committed finances to help me start this event. And it was great in that first show to repay their trust by saying, we've brought the industry here. We've managed to take the industry out of itself for a couple of days here in this amazing place. And certainly that was one memory. Of course, even then in the first year, there was drama. There's always drama around the Festival of Media. One of our hotels burnt down in the first year, 2 days before the event, and we had to rehouse 40 delegates. And that's not easy when you're in Venice and trying to navigate the lagoon. So that was a little bit of a tricky one. Also, the first year, we had to deal with certain, shall we say, Italian practices. I apologize for all the Italians in this room. Our production company were told by the Palazzo del Cinema in Venice that we had to use not only their own crew for a modest stipend, we also had to use all the kit, 1950s projectors and dusty old staging. So we endured it, and I do remember seeing my wonderful production crew, who are still here today, 10 years on, producing this festival, looking bemused at the Italian crew while they slept through 2 days of conference. That was a challenge. But probably the biggest challenge and the biggest memory was 2010. Some of you will remember the Icelandic volcano going off, spewing its ash into the air and preventing air travel for about 10 days. That happened a week before we were due to go to Valencia for the Festival of Media. We had about 870 registrations, and we all had a crew were still down there. And we knew that the Southern Hemisphere could fly. We had a large Brazilian delegation that year, and they were all planning to come. So we were kind of committed. We had to do the event. And as the days progressed and we realized that the flights weren't going to come back online, we faced a very difficult choice. And in the end, me, my team, my crew hired 2 coaches. And from London to Valencia, it's a 29-hour trip, we all had to bus ourselves down to make this event happen. And not only was it my crew, we got half the speakers in the bus as well. And thankfully, Jimmy Wales, the founder of Wikipedia, who was one of the speakers, had brought a bottle of brandy. And he and I sat in the front seat of the coach for 29 hours and just drowned our sorrows together and took the pain out of it. During that journey, I was on the phone to my lawyers thinking, I think this event is it, that's it. The sponsors are going to want their money back. I'm going to lose, I think I was on the hook for about £1 million on that time of my own money. And that was a worrying time. But I remember a call from Erwin Gottlieb saying, it's all fine. And I remember Jack Clues, who's now retired from Publicis, coming up to me, who'd made it, and said, we support this event. We know it's compromised. That's life. And that, to me, was fantastic. So we survived, and the tenacity of the event and of you, the industry. Some of you, you know who you are from Fox, had hired Lady Gaga's tour bus to come down to Valencia. And you made it. And there was a real Dunkirk spirit about the whole industry that made it pull together. That was an amazing memory. So, and there'll be many more. And I hope that you have your own memories and you'll tweet them out, because I know that my team are going to be asking you for some of your thoughts on this. Anyway, that's the old stuff. Finally, before I hand over, I think it might be worthwhile just saying, remembering, I suppose, why we launched this event in the first place. And I think we launched it because the media buying agency business didn't have a conference of its own. I think that's kind of why we did it. I think at the time, media agencies still felt like they were the last company in the presentation with the client, the guys with the spreadsheets coming out for the last 5 minutes. They still felt that they were a bolt-on to other bigger events that were servicing the wider advertising business. And I think what we did was identify that there was genuinely an industry within advertising, a vertical of its own between the media buying and the media selling community. Technology, research, data, planning, buying, and increasingly creative are all coming into this ecosystem. And I think what we tried to do was to bring that ecosystem into one place so that buyers and sellers could be under one roof and have a conversation about the future of our industry. And, you know, it was gratifying to me in the first year that one big client, global media director, came to me and said, Charlie, I think this event has galvanized our industry. You've made us feel like we are an industry. And I think we served our purpose. But what is this industry now? What is a media agency? What is this industry? I actually think that we're an industry in crisis right now. I actually think that we're balkanized. We're not acting as one industry anymore. I think we're being disrupted, we all know that, but we don't know the rules anymore. It used to be the case that we knew how to measure a TV ad and we knew how to value it. Now, we don't even have a consensus on viewability. We're allowing ad fraud to screw up the marketplace in digital and hamper one of the most exciting pieces of progress that this industry could embrace. We haven't even got a fix on the consumer and what we're doing to damage their trust with us and the advertising business. We haven't solved that problem yet. And talking of trust, we haven't even solved the trust between clients and the media agencies after 10 years of this event. So I think the next 2 days is going to be about those issues and trying, in this one forum, to try and build a consensus around some of these big issues. So you guys can share and leave over the next 2 days, leave this event thinking, I think we have a plan. Now, if you guys are having difficulties and facing difficult issues, what does that mean for the Festival of Media? Well, look, one of the privileges of being around for 10 years is that I have a wonderful team, a brilliant staff who are going to be doing all the work over the next 2 days. And they're going to do a wonderful job for you guys. They've been fantastic. Thank you, everybody. So that means that I can be, for one of the first times in my career at C Squared, I can be an observer. I can be listening as a delegate like you, and I can listen to you guys. And that, for me, is my most important job over the next 2 days. What should the Festival of Media stand for in this fast-changing world where we're still trying to figure out what the industry stands for? Should we be in Rome? Should it be a 2-day event? Should we not sell sponsorships, but sell connections and business meetings? Should we be more like Davos or more like the Effies? I don't know. I don't know the answers to these questions at the moment. But I'm hoping that over the next 2 days, we will talk together and reframe this event to reflect a new industry with new values, new KPIs, and new opportunities. So I hope going forward, with your help, continued loyalty and participation, that this event will be around for another 10 years and be bigger, be better, and add more value back to the industry. I'm listening, and I want to work with everybody in this room to reform for next year our European event that's going to really be meaningful and add value to you. So that's it from me. I wish you a fantastic festival. You're going to have a treat. There's some amazing stuff coming on. And I'm really delighted to welcome one of the most charismatic men I've ever worked with, who is going to be hosting the show for the next 2 days. He's the manager of the Festival of Media, our head of content at C Squared. Could you please give a Festival of Media welcome for Mr. Jeremy King?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Festival of Media. 10 years, it's a great achievement. It really is for the Festival of Media. And you guys have played your part. The next 2 days are going to be very exciting. We have a whole wealth of things going on. So much content over these next 2 days that we've had to create 2 big stages. So you've got this stage, which is the Caesar stage. Next door, you have the Julius stage. We've got 95% of the world's media budget holders in the room. We've got some of the biggest CMOs in the room. We've got 30 of the world's hottest ad tech startup companies. So we're certainly catering, and we're listening to you guys, which is the key. Going on from Charlie, that 10 years could only be achieved if we'd listened to you guys. So we listen to what you want every year. Change, reformat, change the way we present, change the way we bring speakers, who we speak to when we get them on stage. So we really are trying to cater for all of those needs and bring to you what's happening across the global media scene. So a few housekeeping rules before we start. Before we do that, I have a few slides just to get you guys in the mood. The first thing I'd like to do, though, does anyone have a paper agenda on their laps, in their hand, or in their bags? If they do, just wave it in the air for me for a second. Okay. Wonderful. Now throw that on the floor and dump it under your chair, burn it, smoke it, whatever you want to do with it. That is no longer relevant. Like media, everything moves at such a fast pace. That agenda was out of date 30 seconds after it got back from the printers. I think probably on the way back from the printers to our office, it was out of date. So the key now is to use the app. So for those of you that aren't logged on to the websites, the connection is FOMG16 and the password is 10 years, all in capital letters. Everyone got that? Good. And then if you download the app, it's Festival of Media Global app, as you can see right here. Look at that. So I've got a couple of slides just to set the scene. So in 2007, when we launched, this is some of the stuff that was there. A thing called the iPhone was launched in 2007. A movie with Leonardo DiCaprio won an Oscar. You'll see why that's relevant in a moment. Countries are desperate to join and not leave the EU. Bulgaria and Romania signed up in 2007. This man married a supermodel, and also became the president of France. This was me at Glastonbury. And I've always loved mad hair and a party. So the reason for that is, as we go through the day, what I'd love you to do across Twitter and the app is potentially troll through your Facebook. You've got an excuse to look at your phones throughout the 2 days. Troll through your Facebook, find some terrible pictures like this one. God knows what I was doing with that hair. Good teeth, though, eh? And post your pictures of what you were doing in 2007 as we go along. So enough of that. Let's get down to the serious business of learning, inspiring, and educating you all.